strange, otherworldly, nostalgia, carny, but not the missing tooth kind of carny, like throwback to like the beginning of the 1900s kind of vibe, rather than our modern day carny.
Firstly, the actual work we did, the outcomes that were from it were creating artist packs, which was a welcome letter for the artists, and just basically giving all the information they need to know about Powerhouse and why they're working here, what they need to do, and just giving a little bit of like entertainment factor to it, so like getting little trees, little fun things just to play around in artist schedules. So what we did as a whole Powerhouse group is we got together and we organised what artists are going to which changing rooms, etc. because we only had very limited space and a lot more artists than space. We had to figure that out. Quite a few artists did pull out. We had to constantly change and adapt as we went. We also did our personal schedules, which was basically all the interns at Powerhouse who could do pre-production work, such as artist stuff, painting things if need be, and also just organising our schedules so we can work with what artist on what day. So we also did an artist call out, which was basically putting together a few documents with Powerhouse saying this is Powerhouse, this is what we're doing, this is what we're looking for, and we just pulled that together just to try and find the right apps for Powerhouse. We also did a tips and hints sheet for all the artists. So what we did is we researched into all the artists that applied. We got to know a bit about them, got to know what they didn't have in regards to social media, what their shows were like, if we could find footage, info about them. And we just put together a couple of documents just saying, well, you need to either get into social media, you need to raise your tickets, lower your tickets, or do more performances like this. And we just put a sheet like that together for them to help them market themselves to the public so that we can draw in audiences to the Powerhouse and to see their performances. And that was the actual work we did, and those were the outcomes. And since the Powerhouse Festival is actually at the beginning of December, mid-December, we don't really know the future outcomes since we haven't worked on it yet. So what we hope to achieve is that the festival is successful, of course, because anyone who's working on a project hopes to be successful. We also hope that the artists use our sheet that we gave them to the best of their ability, and that they did the best they could in order to get at least 75% audiences attending their performances, because you know what benefits us benefits them in Powerhouse. And our last point is that we hope that Powerhouse will have a really good perception of us, because we did work on this project for quite a few months. We tried to the best of our ability, we learned as we went, and since we've learned so much in theory, now we're actually practicing our theory, and we may have made some mistakes, but we just learned as we went, and we just hope Powerhouse think the best of us really. We hope they think we work to the best of our ability, and that's our outcomes for this festival.
The tasks that we were allocated by the Powerhouse could have realistically been done by one person in a couple of hours, but instead they were given to all four of us to do over 2 weeks. So there wasn't really a lot of work for us, but now that we are leading up to the festival, there is a lot more work.
Another challenge we had to face throughout the semester was acts constantly pulling out. So Space Cowboy was one of the main acts that pulled out because Powerhouse couldn't provide them with sufficient performance space. Salon was one of our acts that pulled out, which resulted in us having to consistently amend our artist schedule.
Powerhouse did not give us a lot of freedom of creativity on the project. We didn't get to pick the acts on our stages or anything. The only thing that we were really given kind of creative freedom over was creating the artists' welcome packs, but then we weren't given a lot of budget to work on that.
Tight scheduling times was another challenge that we had to face when developing the artist schedules. The turnover between artists was tight and resulted in some artists having limited time for their dressing rooms. So larger acts were then given first priority so that we could ensure that all the performers were going to be dressed and on stage in time for their performance. Unfortunately, due to the tight scheduling, it meant that some acts therefore were in different dressing rooms for pre and post performance. However, the acts that were on multiple days, we tried to keep them in the same dressing rooms throughout those days to not confuse them. So our team had the idea to get a fortune teller to entertain the attendees in between the acts that they were watching. Unfortunately, Powerhouse thought this was an unnecessary expense and therefore that idea was dismissed.
The other challenge that we faced was related to scheduling, so trying to find meeting times that it would accommodate all 10 QT students was especially hard because of our own personal schedules, but also on the fact that the Powerhouse would only schedule meetings 2 weeks in advance. To overcome this issue, though, we did use a program called Doodle and also Google Docs to keep track of our availability and also to schedule meetings with the group. So, for me, I got experience working with the theatre and with circus, and that's something that I had never done before, so that's something that I'm going to take away from this project. What about you guys?
Well, we all have pretty much the same initiative. We all decided to kind of take away the same thing, so something that's a bit different is I believe that it was actually be a great filler for our CV. Like we say, we worked at Brisbane Powerhouse, we worked in this festival, and also that have listed all the skills we achieved and learned, and I think it'd just be great for future employees to have a look at, saying, oh, they worked on something so big, so well known. I think it'll be just something great we can take away from this experience.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I've learned a lot about entertainment projects over the last few months as well, particularly in theatre and circus, like you said, and quite excited to take these new skills that we've developed and be able to put them into future projects that we're going to obviously do on the week.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think one of the major things that we've all gained from this experience is that we've made connections. Like we're all connections now. We've made connections with the Powerhouse, and we've made connections with our other teams as well.
And the artists.
Yeah, and the artists as well. So it's definitely something we can utilise in the future, and it'll be really beneficial for us for our future in the entertainment industry.
Yeah, and I think that we got to use a lot of the skills that we studied over our course. So yeah, definitely, especially with the scheduling and stuff like that.
It's a good practical take on that.
Yeah, it really is.
You really got to learn it to go, essentially put everything into practice and say, oh well, that doesn't work, this one does work, and what to do from there.
Yeah.
It's hard to say how they will benefit from our experiences, mainly because the entertainment industry scene in Brisbane is changing so quickly. There's always new trends, new concepts to be involved, and even if there was a similar experience to happen with Brisbane Powerhouse, it would involve these trends and concepts, so it wouldn't be the same. And at the same time, we are still learning from our experiences, so we're still learning how we've gained skills and ideas for the future, and it's hard to say how we can help future students when we're still learning what we've learned ourselves. But I think one way that we can help future students experiencing this or a similar project is that Brisbane Powerhouse now has an idea of our presence, but we didn't have that when we first started because we were the first team. They didn't know what we were about, what we were going to do, but because we've been here for so long, we've done what we've needed to do. They have an idea of what we're about, what we're going to do in future if they want to work with us again. So it's good to have that established presence before we start, so that'll be beneficial for future students if they're coming back to the Powerhouse again. Brisbane Powerhouse now has a better understanding of what we can do, and we also have a better understanding of what we can do. So we know the skills that we've used during this project, and although it's great for us to sit there and go through these lectures, we don't know what we're capable of. They can read our course guideline and they can talk to our lecturers but it's not the same as seeing what we can do. I've also prepared a few tips and hints for future students if they choose to work with Powerhouse or a similar project. One of my tips was make connections. So although it's a uni project, try and utilise that as much as possible. And my other one was take it seriously. Although it is an university project, it is an industry product. So your industry partner is serious for them, it's real life, and you're a part of that, and they are opening themselves to you, and you should be respectful of that.
Big thank you to the Powerhouse for giving us this wonderful opportunity, and it's been great working with such a wonderful group as well. Everyone here has been, 100% effort, which was good.